All right, I guess I'm live. This is interesting. Um, Hi, my name is Tim Fraser. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then we're going to talk about data scale pipelines for the rest of us. I think I'm going to go faster than this 25 minutes. I think I'm going to like speed run this thing. Um, so I'm going to give you a little background on myself, why you should potentially listen to me at some points, and kind of go around some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So go, go, go. All right, speed run. So I've worked as an analyst. I've worked as a grocery store clerk. I've worked as a yoga teacher. Clearly, that makes me a good data engineer. I've been a senior engineer. I've been a lead data engineer and director of data engineering at my previous company. Currently a data architect and doing some other data engineering. So one of the things that I focus on are smaller startups in larger corporations. And I've worked at both. I've worked at Walmart and I've worked at certain companies right now that I can't name, but they're very, very big. And I've been fascinated by the evolving landscape of data tooling. Like some of these toys that we get today, not including the AI and everything else we get to play with to create these data pipelines, is just going so fast. And first, you should always start before building a pipeline is answering the question, why am I building this? Right. So I'm going to share my screen in a second, but do a Miro chart, like I was actually lecturing people like I do when I teach. So I'm going to share my screen first, just going to diagram it, and I'm going to walk you through kind of like how I'd even think about this stuff. Right. So you can find me on selftaught.engineer. I have a Substack, like who doesn't these days? Actually, Timo, I don't think you have a Substack. I haven't read it. You can find me on LinkedIn. I am Tim
Yes, I have.
Fraser.
So
Insert my
just
logo
sorry.
here. You do have a Substack. All right. Well, then go read it, everybody. You should definitely go read it. I know I've been reading your book, Timo, as you update it. And I definitely watch almost all your YouTube videos, which intimidate me like no man's business. All right. So today, what we're going to build is I have an inbox. All right. So one of the first things I like to do when testing out my thinking and how I'm going to work with everything is I'm going to share this tab instead. All right, restream. Okay. So the first thing, I'm going to create my own kind of like analysis on my own data, right? So a lot of customers I get, they always wanted me to stand up like Snowflake or some huge data warehouse or good Lord, who knows what, but it's got to be big. It's going to do a lot of data. The vast majority of the internet and problems we have to answer is really not big data questions. I know this is like me piping up and saying, let's talk about DuckDB and polars and all that stuff. Don't worry, I'll have those later in a minute. But what we're going to call is like a really practical case, right? We all want to use AI, we're all going to use AI. And one of the things that I'm trying to solve here is like, I have all these articles I read all the time. I'm a huge reader. You can see just all this stuff. But what I don't have is accountability, right? I have all these articles coming in and I'm like, well, like how often am I actually reading them? So this is like a pretty standard thing. You could say like, this is a question of how often does my customer come to my website? How often does my customer interact with a thing? This is like, typical e-commerce problem. Okay. So we're going to start up here. So we have all this stuff really quick. I'm going to take this data, and there's a lot of other stuff you can see here. Like I have upscaling marketing by this article. You can see a bunch of like my notes, right? I'm getting here. I'm going to summarize this page. Or sure, I could use some AI like that Notion gives me. Great. But it's not like letting me think. So what I want to do is I want to take this information and start summarizing in my own words. So then maybe I can write an article or just like, be more smart or at least sound more smart. But I also wanted to make sure that I'm actually, doing it more often in my busy life. And I'm a data person. I'm going to take this information. I'm going to dump it into DuckDB, and I'll explain in a second. Then Then I'm going to convert it to a Parquet file. Why? We'll talk about that too. Then I'm going to be like, whoa, I'm going to turn this into a product. I'm going to scale, scale, scale. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go into what I call, not I call, but the world calls data lake, S3 essentially. And we're going to use Apache Iceberg and be like, wow, this could scale to a major cool product, right? Because obviously it's going to be very successful. Everybody wants to know their readwise read count these days. All right, so let's share this tab. All right, so the idea is I have, this is pretty standard stuff for your data engineering, and the question always starts, I have a source, okay? This source is going to go down to, I don't know, let's say like the data layer, something fancy. Right? Whoa, let's pretend I know how to spell today. Okay. All right. So let's quickly just cover that. Let's say this is an API. Okay. Now this is speed run. Now we could use things like Fivetran, or we could use some like WYSIWYG or whatever. I'm a data engineer. My preference is code. I don't get black box. I can read it. And honestly, with Copilot and ChatGPT these days, you can understand a lot of code, even really poorly written code really quick. But today we're going to use a tool called DLT. I've used a lot of tools in my time, and data load tool, which I'm going to show over here, is one of my favorites. It reminds me of the good old days of Meltano. If you don't know what that is, that's fine. I think it's called ArchDev now. I've used Aerobyte. I've used all these crazy tools, but sometimes I just want to get stuff done, right? I don't want to pay somebody like a ton of money, but I also want to be production ready. DLT is this very quick to run Pythonic first way of doing it. I like to keep my pipelines Python first. I know that a lot of people change that. But honestly, you can go really far. I would say a vast majority of people I've worked with and consulted in the past 2 years or more, they could just really, really, really do great with this, right? And you can honestly, interface with OpenAI, or I use Anthropic stuff right now, tons of different APIs. And the next thing you want to do is like, okay, well, you've connected to this API. For us, it's going to be Notion in a couple minutes. But then you want to like take that data and then you want to do something with it. Sometimes you just want to transfer it to your local laptop, for example, which I'm going to do in a second. Or you want to put it into AWS S3 and, great, you want to do more analysis. All right, so let's keep going. Short on time already. Burn through this. All right. So let's share this tab really quickly. We're going to do a data layer. You can see it's like really well written. I should have done cool logos or something. Data layer. So let's go it's going to be a blob on my laptop. And a blob here is going to be, it's going to probably start it as a Parquet file. But then I want to query it. And DuckDB is a single, and I'm going to pitch this right now. DuckDB is something that most data engineers and analysts should probably start using today. I think it's a phenomenal project that can do a vast majority of analysis, and it is crazy cheap if you do it on your laptop, and you can use their product MotherDuck. I'm not sponsored. They don't owe me anything. I just think it's a fantastic idea of what they're doing, and has been solving so many data analytics problems today. Not that BigQuery is not good, and all the other guys, I've used them all. Well, a lot of them. All right, so we're going to take that there. All right, we're going to do some fancy question asking of our blob, which is going to go to, let's say, duck. I can't draw a duck. My daughter will be disappointed. DuckDB. Oh my God, dyslexia. All right, so then we're going to ask some questions really quickly. We're then going to go, all right, that's really great. But what happens if we scale? Because that's what you want to do, right? You want to scale. Scale it really quickly. We're going to go S3, obviously we have terabytes of data now. Okay, let's see if this can actually draw a box. Okay, draw a box. Now we're going to S3, and then we're going to go, okay, now we want to store it. All right, so really quickly, we're going to talk about scaling. and I'll show you the real practical stuff. Iceberg, just so we're clear, I did steal this. I was going to draw it by hand, but I don't have enough time. Iceberg is not a table format. Is a way of managing files, right? So this is really exciting for me. The theory and what we're starting to see here, and really soon, is the ability to write data. You could say through DLT to Parquet files. Avro, which is in memory for usually we use it in memory for in-memory queries. So like if you want really fast queries, it's usually a file format that's done in the background when doing transformations. Iceberg could hold this and it keeps this metadata layer, basically everything that's happening. So usually like, BigQuery or Snowflake manages all for you. So it's like this magic happening in the background. And you're trying to think like, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to take the table away from Snowflake or BigQuery or Redshift? The reason for that is like it starts to unlock this crazy analytical capability, even for a small project like mine. And that is the ability to query theoretically with almost any engine. Like you could imagine like Amplitude as a BI tool could connect into your tables or very easily, or you could use like Snowflake, which is trying to support now, or you could use DuckDB locally, just connecting it to these tables. It's ACID transactions was basically it's like atomic, consistent, idempotent, and I can't pronounce that word for some reason right now, but essentially a like efficient way of your table storage. This is where it gets like really data engineering, and I absolutely love this thing. Definitely gonna be deploying this more into projects as we need it. You can think about this as like, this guy, Jew Data Engineering Newsletter, definitely subscribe. He's fantastic at breaking down all this stuff. But essentially, if you think about it, you have this data, comes in as a file right here. Can I even draw on this? Like right here, comes in here and you're like, okay, I'm storing all these files. You have this manifest, which is essentially the analytics of your file that's happening. And then you're going to keep all this metadata about the files, right? Okay. This catalog thing, that's happening right now. Like Iceberg has a way of interacting with these tables so you understand what's going on. That's about to change because Amazon has changed something super fundamental, and that is conditional rights. I won't go into that, but it's super important. It means I don't think we're going to have to deal with this catalog thing from very much longer, at least the way we see it in S3. And let's be honest, S3 is basically the blob storage of the internet these days. Okay, so I think that's good. I am going to share some live code. I get really excited about all this stuff. I think you can solve a lot of things with just using ChatGPT and thinking through a problem and your reason why, right? Let's see here. Let's go. All right. Let's do this. Live coding, because who doesn't like live coding just to see how we fail? All right. So let's see here. Let's throw my pipeline notes. All right. So real quick, we're going to grab data from my Notion, but what I'm going to do, all right, so I created some notes in here. I'm just going to start my export. I call it the brain. It's pretty fun. I'm just going to export it to Notion. Oh, no new highlights today. Well, that's depressing. Maybe I'll create a new one in a minute. All right. So let us open up a terminal. Wow, the time is burning. All right. I am going to cheat because I actually have some pre-recorded, pre-done code because this is going way fast. Practiced last night. All right, so bring my code over here with my top secret key, which I just exposed to the internet. Okay, let's see here. So I'm gonna go mkdir, no slides. All right, let's go Python. So what I'm going to do
we can't see your terminal yet.
Oh no, it's not showing anything.
Something different.
What do you show?
No worries. It still shows just the browser.
Okay, let's see here. No terminal. Entire screen. This one. Share. All right, let's see here. Ah! There we go. You see that? That looks good. All right. We're going to create a Python virtual environment because we're good stewards of our system. Oops. WD. Oops. Projects. Okay. Actually, you know what? Do I have one? CD. Let's go real fast. Speed code. That's why people make everything. Don't do this always live. MKDir data Notion. We'll call it data Notion. Okay. Py Python and we're going to create a virtual environment because we're good stewards of the internet of our own computer. And obviously, we're going to scale this up real quick. All right, cool. We're going to just go source it. Done. Bin, and we're just going to make sure that it is project. Great. Now we have Python 3.10 fully initialized. Okay, great. We're going to go pip install DLT. Hey, it's cached. Great. All right, so I've installed DLT, which is our data load tool. Now I'm going to be like, all right, let's go DLT init. We're going to go Notion, and then we're going to do it to DuckDB. This is why I love it. Look, why not? So you're installing the global environment, maybe a virtual environment. Active DLT will not see the pins from virtual environment. You should uninstall DLT from the global environment. Ugh, this is bad. Should I just do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's live. Whatever. Done. All right. So, hang on. I'm a bad boy. I made the directory. MKDir, no. I'm a bad boy. I created, no. All right, this is why we're going to abort this real quick and go to there because I'm already running out of time. Timo, I practiced last night and everything went great last night. Oh, shocking. I already have all this stuff. So I have requirements here, DLT, Botto, Arrow, Iceberg, DuckDB. Great. I'm going to open my terminal. I'm going to assume everybody can see this. And I'm going to go DLT, init, Notion, DuckDB. It's going to make sure everything is good. Great. What this did, I gave it a couple seconds, is it stood up this folder directory called Notion. Inside of Notion, it contains some, API stuff. There's pulls all this stuff into here, right? It creates a secrets tunnel, which now I'll have to reset, which has my Notion API key in it. And it spins up this really simple Python package, right? So from import Notion databases, load all the databases from the workspace. Everybody can read that. That is so cool, right? In a couple seconds, you can go DLT sync, and you just go sync Notion _ pipeline. Are you invalid? Init, deploy, scheme, sync telemetry. Oh my god. Sync. What? I thought it was sync. What did I do wrong? No, that should. Choose from init. DLP. Oh, maybe it's for pipeline. That's what I'm talking about. Ha ha ha. Pipeline Notion. Wow, talk about live and wrecking it. Well, look at this. I'm going to cheat right now. I just used it like 2 seconds ago. Docs, DLT, D2, blah, blah. This is why you practice more often than you do here. DLT rest in it. Did it install? Python. Oh my God. Of course. Boom. All right. DuckDB's up. It's loaded. Oh my God. I've loaded so many things. All right. This is big. I got so much files. All right. So Okay, so it loaded that. Let's make sure that I'm going to check it out in here. And just make sure I'm not crazy. She's Harlequin. All right. All right. I'm just gonna see if I loaded my data into this DuckDB DLT. I can cheat. I know which it is. It's called library. All right. Oh, dang. Hang on. Downloaded everything in here. DLT IDs. No, it's like I'm shocked. And you can see it loaded everything into my local DuckDB. And you can do all kinds of queries on here. I'm going to cheat, for example, and you can just grab this, run a query. Yeah, let's get rid of all this stuff. Run my query. All right, so there we go. Let's see how many highlights I have from my readwise. This is like you could grok like, okay, a couple mistakes here. I'm familiar with DLT, but like, I don't know, 10 minutes. I'm already like doing some analytics on my stuff. Oh, that's not good. 2 highlights in September? You've got to be kidding me. 18 in August. What was I doing last year in May? Good Lord. Oh my God. All right. 240. Okay. I was unemployed, clearly. Well, okay, like lightly employed, fewer clients. Oh, you can see when I started the full-time contract. All right, that's depressing. That's enough. Let's move along, people. Oh, actually, you know what I should probably do? So I probably should see if I can sync some more highlights real quick. Oh my God. Okay, let's go to... let's see here. 7 powers in practice, common cog. Sorry, Timo, I don't have one of your articles right now, so I'm just going to grab one of these. 7 powers in practice. Take shelf as, for instance, an acquired podcast. All right, that's a great one. All right, I'm going to take that highlight. I'm going to go back to my Notion preferences, and I'm going to start an export. This is the only manual piece, right? Okay, so now it's exporting to Notion. Oh, one Notion piece, super nerdy. Okay, we have it available. It's in Notion. We could say, let's go here. Let's just make sure. All right. Some practice already showed up here in my Notion table. We're going through multiple hoops here because this is going to be a very profitable project, just so everybody knows. So let's go. Let's run that Python Notion pipeline again. This is a couple seconds-ish. Well, loaded, contains no failed jobs. You are too kind. Let's open a DuckDB real quick. Let's run my query. Ha! I went from 3 to 3. Okay, so now, like, in only a couple minutes, you know, you're already pulling in this data. You're already working with this. This is like the vast majority of the time. I didn't need a huge data warehouse. This thing is like, how big is your disk on your laptop? How big is your processor? Like, I have an M3 laptop here and a terabyte of data. Vast majority of tables I'm working to do, unless you're doing like huge clickstream data, your laptop's going to be able to answer vast majority of your questions before you take it to, like, I don't know, Mother Duck, or you want to do other things. But very successful product. Clearly, this is a winner. I'm going to go stand up in this, what is it? What did I write? 50 lines of code. 50 lines of code. I'm going to create this table. I'm going to create a Notion library. For my Notion library, I'm going to create this ability to track changes. It's going to be an Iceberg table. And what that means is that I could use different query engines, not just Duck. I could use a lot of things. And I can also move this Iceberg table to, say, AWS S3, and then use Athena. Like, say my data gets super big because obviously I have like 12,000 customers or something better. Set up the warehouse. I'll post the code later. Nobody cares. Load it. It's creating a table. This is really boilerplate code. Okay. Oh, hang on. Oop. Then activate. Okay, let's try it again. Did I install my dependencies? What? So unable to open database. Oh, I'm unable to. Session was directed from the following cause. Oh. Well, I don't have enough time to fix this. But what this does spin up is a SQLite, management. So what I saw before for Iceberg, it stands up a SQLite, which will manage your Iceberg, right? So manage all the manifest files and all the different changes. I'm going to skip ahead and go to 3 since we're running out of time anyway. This is what it's called, live practice, speed running. Okay. Disappointing that didn't work, but let's go on to AWS 3, close this terminal. Let's go on to AWS S3. Let's go check out my account. Best console. Don't worry, I'm gonna rotate all my keys later so you guys can't find it. Console, 3 minutes. I got this. Let's go. I'm gonna root user. I'm a bad boy. May have stood this up the other day. Log in. MFA. Oh, good thing it's MFA. All right. Oh my God, my car. How can I'm going to be able to afford this $2? I don't know. All right, let's go here. Let's go to S3. Like, make sure I set up my S3 bucket. All right, this new, nothing in here. That's great. And now let's do the moment of truth. Can I take these? How many lines of code is this? Oh, it's 72. All right, first I'll go over this really quick. Get my credentials. I'm not going to cover that here. You can do that yourself. So README or Claude, take you 2 minutes. We're going to go stand up S3. We're going to collect it, connect to it. We're going to stand up glue. We're going to grab the data from our library. There's a little fancier way you can do this. You can just use DLT, but we're going to assume you're just doing man in the middle with duck. Using Arrow in memory processing. There's a little bit timestampy stuff that's going on with Arrow back to into Parquet. Super easy. This is like a couple minutes with anything. And then we're just going to tell glue data catalog that this exists. This Iceberg piece exists. All right, let's see if we can get this working. Oh my God, does not exist. Python, Notion, metadata. Oh, because my local's not working. Oh, kill me now. Of course it's not. That's what I get for like live testing. All right, well, I have 1 minute and I'm gonna cover this really quickly. Input, the path file does not exist, metadata to JSON. Can I pull this off right now? Default warehouse, human temp. It's a path problem. User select from. Well, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna run it 2 minutes long. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just fix this problem. Try to fix this problem live. It's saying Iceberg get value. You can't get it from where? Where is it complaining about? Python to local. This is gonna be so obvious in like 2 minutes. It's gonna drive me nuts. It's gonna drive me so crazy. Unable to open database file. Unable to open database file. Did I delete something? I must have deleted something. All right. Okay. So failure live. This is what happens when you only test it at midnight. This basically takes and converts the file very easily. Pulls it up here and does it to converts it to Iceberg data catalog. That catalog then gets pushed to S3. In S3, you can then query it using Athena. But obviously, I did not test the direct connection right now because my database file is missing. And that is probably because I was sloppy and I deleted it. And now I can't find it. Did I? Legal white warehouse, temp data warehouse. Oh my God, is that it? I'm almost at time. Give me a second. Warehouse. Is that it? Is that like the namespace? No, Iceberg section. Table does not exist. Table is not Notion default table. Oh, it's tabled. All right, I'm gonna stop now.
Good.
This was
a live. It's always a bit. I know it's frustrating, but still, it was still a very impressive demo. So I loved a lot of that.
I mean, for me, so yeah, I mean, it's gonna be so obvious. It's basically I deleted something, but the gist is you can stand up a full pipeline without being a schmuck in minutes. Yes, you could use a UI. Yes, you could use a lot of these things, but honestly, using DLT and DuckDB and then moving over to Athena, I've been able to stand up impressive data pipelines that me and like 5 engineers like 3 years ago would have had to do. Now I'm doing it in like a day.
Thank you so much.
I almost got it not broken, but I mean that's the point of doing live coding demos, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Timo, thank you so much for putting this on. It's a big